Hello and welcome to the Small Business Happy Dance podcast. My name is Rachel Slawson and today I'm interviewing Jo Bloodworth from the Little Shop of Joy and I'm so pleased. Oh, welcome Jo.
Hi Rachel, thanks for having me.
So Jo, do you want to tell me a little bit about your business?
So I run the Little Shop of Joy and it's gifts, accessories and clothing that really kind of cheer people up and bring something extra to your life, maybe even a gift for somebody as well.
I have to admit to the podcast, I have received a gift from Jo previously. It wasn't actually, my mum bought it, but it came from the Little Shop of Joy and it's actually a scarf. I've got it here. And
it's a super fluffy one.
I'm living for the scarf. It's so soft and warm.
Yeah, I have to say my grandma's got the exact same scarf and she completely rocks it at 92. So, you know, she's you and her, scarf twins.
It's timeless. That's what I want to say. It's timeless.
Timeless.
Yeah. So how did you start your business?
Well, actually, I started it when I graduated from university. So that was like, I'm going back a bit now, 2002. And I graduated and started doing kind of one-off commissions. I did fashion design. And I opened a shop, probably, I'm trying to think, 2009. I actually opened a shop in Shrewsbury Town Centre. And by default, it started to get called the Little Shop of Joy. So people who visited, my friends, I set up a Facebook group back when Facebook was like really just starting for groups and things. And I called it the Little Shop of Joy, but it wasn't. It was just my name. So it was Jo Bloodworth. I was making one-off clothes and accessories. And then it's been more of a recent restart again because I've been teaching and doing all different things. So yeah, it's a bit of a journey really with the Little Shop of Joy, but it's definitely become a big part of my life now. It's exciting.
I love that your customers named the shop.
Pretty much, yeah. It was friends of mine, it was regular customers I had who would say, oh, it's like the Little Shop of Joy because it was really bright and colourful. It was in a really beautiful building which had a huge window, and I always used to bring really colourful things in and around the window, so people would come in and say, it's so colourful, and that was kind of where it came from. And I think I called it that a little bit as well because it was something I'd wanted to do. And I was loving it. So, the shop itself, with the overheads, with everything at that time, it didn't work out. It was about 2 years I ran it for, and then it just, I focused on the teaching and kind of put it, as we all do, as all of us creatives do. There's times when you kind of push things just to the side and focus on something else. So yeah, it's back now, the Little Shop of Joy. It's yeah.
And I think my mum found you originally via the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was raving about the sock packages you do.
Sock packages. Well, yeah. Also, I did a workshop with your mum doing mending and things through the University of Wolverhampton, where I work as well.
Oh, yes. She loved those workshops.
They were brilliant.
Brilliant. That is a skill that I think more of us need to learn, is how to mend and care for your clothes.
I'm pleased you said that because that's something I am going to be working on, is doing some little videos and online workshops. So that's something that I've done in the past, and I'm hoping it will kind of merge the teaching side of what I do, and also my love of actually mending treasured items, because why get rid of something that you love when you can just mend it? This is my thing.
I didn't plan to say that, by the way. That's full disclosure. I didn't plan to say that. I'm so excited that you're going to be doing those workshops.
Yeah.
That skill of sewing and mending things, it's obviously came from the wartime and making the most of the very precious resources we had. And it's sort of been a bit of a lost skill.
Oh my goodness. Do you know, it is, when you look back as well, you look back to kind of more historical clothing. So I remember when I was at at university, we went to see some work from a V&A collection that had been put aside for us to look at as fashion students. And the thing that I really clung to, there was this 18th century dress, and it had been modified that many times, where it had been handed down. So had been worn, at the start of this century, but it had actually had where it had been taken in, and all of the mending was visible. Like you could see where it obviously multiple people had worn it, and it absolutely fascinated me. And I just thought, even at that point then, I just was like, there's something I really love about that. And so when I did the workshops, I think it was about 2 years ago now, the S4S workshops, it was really interesting, all the different kind of artists and people that came in to demonstrate visible mending. I remember thinking then, that's awesome. And yeah, so I really love that. There's a lot to be said for celebrating the imperfections.
In terms of with the Little Shop of Joy, so you do clothes and you make some of the clothes, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And that's really where it started. So I make the clothing I make. Well, if we go back, I guess being plus size, which I don't really like the term plus size because I am just the size I am, but it's I was always frustrated with what clothing there was out there. It's probably why I got into fashion. So I think that's really that's where my roots are in the things that I make. So I make clothing that is one size and does fit, quite a variety of different sizes. I don't ever want anyone to feel like they can't wear something I would make. So yeah, so I've made lots of things like caftans, make maxi dresses that are, using this excess of fabric. And the beauty of doing that is a lot of zero waste pattern cutting and design. Yeah, so that's the clothing that I make. And then alongside that, I started getting a few kind of scarves and bits in, and then making cushions for myself at home. So it ended up building not just about clothing and fashion, it actually became more of a lifestyle thing, things that will kind of either cheer up your house, little bits that you can kind of treasure, but are good quality, things that are made well and will definitely serve a purpose as well. So yeah, so clothes and accessories. Yeah, that's how I'd kind of sum it all up.
You have got some gorgeous cushions. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like the parrot one is so cool. What did you learn from COVID and how did that affect your business?
Oh my goodness. Oh, what a time. What a time it's been. I mean, I really struggled, I have to say. I remember I was teaching full time at the time that the kind of pandemic started, and I can remember us knowing this thing was looming over us, something was coming, and we weren't sure what was going to happen. And I remember evacuating the building. It felt like we had to close the rooms one at a time, and the students were all a bit panicked, and we all felt like it was really surreal. And I remember coming home that day, no idea I wouldn't be going back there for almost a year, no idea at all. It was a place that I spent all my time, really was 5 days a week. And yeah, so then obviously working from home, again, that was a real struggle. We had to adapt pretty quickly from teaching, very hands-on, to working online and trying to communicate with students. And it was really, it was really full on. So something I started doing was on the weekends, you could kind of say a bit of a workaholic here, but obviously we weren't able to see friends and family and do the things I would normally do. So I started making, and it really helped me mental health wise, really, really helped me. And I think I wasn't intending on restarting the business or anything. I was doing it really for myself. And I I went live on Saturday. I think I was not in a very good place, and I went live on my Facebook group, Little Shop of Joy Facebook group, which hadn't been that active. And I just said hi to everyone, and people were coming on, and it was a lot of friends really, and a few people that had used to be customers. And I just said, look, I've got some stock here. I was planning to do some pop-up shops, so I had some scarves and bits, and I just said, if I can send any scarves out to anyone, if anyone wants any gifts, I don't mind going to the post office. I'll go once next week. I can leave it outside the post office, and the fab Abbey Foregate post office, who absolutely saved me, I have to say. So I'm going to name drop them. They were brilliant. And I got some orders all through Facebook, people messaging me, oh, I like that, can I have the blue scarf? So I was like, oh, that's really great. So I packaged all this stuff up, and I had some tissue at home, and I made everything nice, and people ordered again. And so yeah, so I kind of did okay with that. And then there was a wholesaler that I'd used for the scarves, and I invested that money in 50 rainbow scarves. They're these beautiful rainbow scarves that I found, because again, battling the mental health, looking at what's happening out there in the world, seeing all the key workers and all the struggles with the NHS, feeling completely helpless, being a fashion designer, maker. I did make some scrubs as well, but that didn't last too long, to be honest. But yeah, so I decided to do a giveaway, and that really was for the key workers. So every weekend I would do announce this like giveaway, nominate somebody who is a key worker, tell us why they deserve it, and people were getting tagged in. And honestly, my community just kind of grew, and it was unintentional, and I was just doing all these giveaways, and it kind of picked up from there. And then the website was developed, and so this was all the time that I would normally spend socializing and being with my friends and family. It became the little shop of joy. Just seemed, it was like it was meant to be. It was like it just seemed the right thing. And so it really built from the kindness of other people, and that's what I love about it as well. It was kind of if I go back now, I can get quite emotional looking at some of the old posts and the difficult things people were going through. Yeah, there were a few things along the way that were really like amazing people that had really, really suffered. And yeah, so I just felt like it's a very small thing, but if I could just even cheer someone up. And I started getting photographs of NHS workers, of key workers wearing their scarves, saying that they'd received something, or somebody who'd lost somebody saying thank you so much, to whoever nominated them, and the little shop of joy. And it became like a really positive thing. So I think that's where I feel like I've changed from initially. The little shop of joy was things that I would wear or want to own myself, or things I liked in my house. And I was very much about me doing that. And then it became me really listening to other people and what they wanted and what they were looking for. And so I feel like now that's what I'm trying to do. So with the clothing that I've expanded in, I'm trying to source clothing now alongside the stuff I make that is really kind of going to make people feel good about themselves. So that's where I am at the moment with it, and it's going really well. Like the clothing's really taken off, and I tell you, it's really interesting the different people it's appealing to as well, because I've got a few mums, kind of people that have recently had babies, lockdown babies, not feeling very confident in themselves, and things like the dungarees and the harems and stuff. It's almost like it's a feel good thing. So things that fit very comfortably, but are a bit quirky as well. So yeah, I'm really happy with where that's going, and I'm just looking forward to kind of building on it. I've talked a lot now. I've just rambled on for quite a long time.
No,
I just realised that.
Jo, that's so inspiring. I love that. That is, I mean, there's last year was an odd time for everybody, but that is to have made something really positive out of such an awful time, and then to bring so much joy to so many other people. I mean, that is just, there's me making a Christmas decoration and you're there changing the world. I mean, this is amazing.
In all honesty, it helped me, because I don't know what I would be doing now if I hadn't done that, because like I say, I was really, really struggling. I just filled my time doing it. And yeah, I think it's just ended up like this, it was, I do feel quite kind of funny over it, that it was kind of meant to happen like that.
Wow. And getting the community involved is what small business is all about.
Yeah.
I mean,
and yeah,
It is you know, and that's why I'm so passionate about small business, because like Caroline B said on one of the other episodes, I will link it down below. She said, you know, when you buy, I'm paraphrasing, when you buy from a small business, you are literally putting clothes on children's backs, you know?
Yeah. Oh, do you know, and there were so many amazing small businesses, friends of mine who are doing amazing things. Like my friend Cherie has a business called Sherry Did This, and she's an illustrator. But through lockdown, through the pandemic, she created this amazing print and made face masks, which she sold on Not on the High Street. Yeah, there's so many people did, you know, really brilliant things, and it really changed the direction of their business as well. So yeah, it's been an interesting time, and also interestingly, you know, my students as well, I've got students that are they're collaborating, they're trying to set up small businesses together. So we're having to, the direction of the fashion course actually is changing, because we're bringing more of a business advice in because of the need. I think people are wanting to do more things themselves as well. And yeah, there's a real, I mean, I think even though there's been a lot of hardship, I think it's quite exciting really. There's in what the potential, the changes that are going to happen as a result of such an awful situation.
Wow, I love the idea that the course is changing in response to changing times. And I think that the business advice would be key, because,
Yeah.
you know, you're not always going to end up working for a big fashion design house, are you? So you might as well try and make your
Yeah,
own way.
it's so competitive, you know. And again, the fashion industry took a real hit with the pandemic.
Mm.
And I mean, there are still the internships, there's still the jobs out there. I think some people are more reluctant to be traveling at the moment, obviously, and businesses as well. I think I just think it's a bit of a challenging time. So I think a lot of creatives are thinking creatively around what they can do, and you know, we're resourceful. So I think it's exciting. I think it is, there's a lot to kind of gain from the changes that are happening.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in 10, 20, 30, 40
Yeah.
years, because this was the biggest thing I've experienced in my life. Like you know, being locked down was so fundamentally different way of living.
Oh yeah.
Having restrictions on your personal freedom is not something that we've normally experienced in this country. And so I, like you say, there will be kernels of seeds that have been planted at this point that are going to
Yeah.
go forward, and hopefully lots of creativity around things like sustainability and how to work smarter, you know. And I think for a lot of people, you know, being online hasn't been such a bad thing, because, you know, there have been people who have hidden disabilities or whatever, and actually being online has meant that they could join in so many more things. And
Yeah,
you know, that's also I think that's a positive to come out of this.
definitely. And just looking at kind of, you know, when you think about trends of things, you know, the decisions people make and what they surround themselves with is kind of where I look at trends, I guess. But loungewear, I mean, obviously you think about being at home, you know, lockdown came, all the season's clothing that was geared for party wear and everything, you know, it really changed, and it became more about loungewear. I mean, I did it really made me laugh. It made me laugh. I did a little thing it was more towards Christmas, where I found this company that did these amazing bamboo socks. They're really funky colours and patterns. You can find them on the website. And I did this little thing about like socks are the new shoes because it was like we couldn't go shoe shopping as much. We weren't going anywhere. It's like, what, you just need your trainers for your walk. So it became like a bit of a funny thing. There were some funny photos going around on my social media of people in their socks, like baboon socks and you know, puffin socks, and just like really quirky, colourful things. It became like, look at my new shoes, but they weren't, they were socks. It was like a comedy thing. But you know, it's just saying I mean, it just shows how quickly things can change. You can think you're on track one way, and yeah, I think that's definitely what it's shown with the fashion industry. You can plan, but you can only plan so far. just don't know what's around any corner.
No, I bet there was. Makes me a bit nervous about how much stuff was. Do you think they would have binned all of the things that were?
Oh, I mean, who knows? There's definitely some conferences I'm going to be attending just to see. I think there's a lot of reflecting to do on what's happened. I know there were some issues with orders being cancelled. There was a big knock-on effect. If you look at Fashion Revolution, who they're really fantastic in kind of raising issues of what's happening in the fashion industry and kind of putting things to government as well to make changes. But yeah, they were talking a lot about the cancelling of orders from kind of mainstream stores, shall we say, who cancelled orders with manufacturers, and the knock-on effect in some countries was massive, because that meant that the stock had already been produced, or there was that kind of guarantee of that, and then it was cancelled. So there were some situations with that kind of thing happening. But I definitely need to look a bit more into that. But there's lots of information out there if people are interested in it. You just have to look on something called the Fashion Roundtable. There's Fashion Revolution. Definitely have a look at their website. They do a really good campaign as well, which is that you can print this sheet off online. You can print it off, and it's just to ask the question, who made my clothes? And so you can kind of tag yourself in on your social media holding this sign up, who made my clothes, and tag in the company of or the brand that you're wearing. So whoever that is, you just tag them in, and then it's almost like encouraging them to tell you who made it, what the material is. And so there's this thing about transparency, and that's something that I'm definitely really trying to build on with what I do. So some of the companies that I've been working with, there's some that the stuff's made in Italy, but there's a couple of fair trade who deal with small manufacturers in India, and I'm really enjoying the relationship I'm having there. And I've just made a really great connection with someone who's actually living in India, and I'm really hoping to kind of build on that and maybe do a bit more there, but also locally, because I definitely want to do work with some local makers. So any local seamstresses, please get in touch. Local Shrewsbury.
Mom, if you're watching this,
please,
this
help.
could be for you.
Yeah, absolutely, this is your calling.
I love that my mom might get a job out of this podcast. Anything else that I thought this podcast might do, my mum might get a job out of this.
Yeah, that's it. Sorted.
What one piece of advice, I always ask this on my podcast, would you give to customers of a small business?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, if they're customers of a small business, they're already thumbs up, because they're supporting small businesses. But yeah, I think it's fantastic if you can work, buy from a small business. I would just say, tell other people. In all honesty, to support a small business, you don't even have to spend money. All you've got to do is share the business with them. So by sharing this podcast, say that, I'm share the podcast.
Nice plug.
You're helping, Rachel, you're helping me, you're helping lots of different people. So even if someone or a small business that you support is sharing something new they've made, think of the people who might like it and share it with them, because I think that's something that small businesses really struggle with. We don't have the capacity to pay for marketing, even doing kind of online adverts, and being found in search engines. I've not gone down that route. I'll be really honest. I've not gone down that route because I can't afford it. I'm a small business, and I also think it's about the community of people. I want it to be word of mouth and grown that way. So yeah, if you're supporting a small business, just tell other people about what they do and about what you love. And also tell the small business owners what you love. Feedback is amazing, good and bad. It's amazing. Always just tell people what you think of what you've purchased.
I love that. And and that mirrors the podcast that I filmed last week. She said something very, very similar. She said you don't ever have to even have bought from the business. You may never buy from that business, but you can help it by liking, commenting and sharing on social media. Those likes and shares might be like a tiny nanosecond of a click to you, but they mean so much to the creator who's made that post, particularly when they're a small creator. It's huge.
It doesn't. And honestly, the times when I talk about through the lockdowns, and the times that really gave me joy were when, my phone would light up, and it is addictive, and I've looked into this. It's this addictive thing where you get a notification to say someone's liked your post, someone's shared your post, or you've got a message or a thank you for receiving. They honestly make such a difference. And even now, when I get the orders that come through my website and they come through on my phone, I can honestly say that every single order, the thing that it's talked about, it's like make a small business owner do a happy dance, right?
That's why this podcast is named this.
Yeah, it is so true. It might not be like an over the top, flamenco kind of dance or anything, but I actually, an internal happy dance, I would literally go, oh great, oh that's great, because every small sale builds up and can become a living to somebody. And so yeah, it's definitely, the happy dance is there.
What piece of advice would you give to a new business owner?
Well, I'd probably say, find your people, build your community. That's definitely what kind of made my business kind of come through, and just keep speaking to them. Speak to people about what they want, and be somebody that provides that for them. I know a lot of businesses are differently. Also, ask for advice. Ask people for help if you need it, and definitely try to get help in the areas that you don't feel so confident in. I would definitely say that if you're coming in, or even if you're you're thinking of going into business. So let's say you've got an idea, or you've got something you've made and you're looking to take it further, then definitely get some support. There's lots of help out there, actually, if you just look for it. Business advice.
Yeah, there in both Cornwall and now in Shropshire, I have contacted both areas had a growth hub. I'm assuming that's around the whole country, that each area has a growth hub. The one in Shropshire is called Marches, the one in Cornwall is called the Cornwall and Isles of Scilly Growth Hub. And they have signposted me to mentoring in Shropshire. So, I definitely think you need to do a little bit of research and definitely find out what's in your area. And as you say, sometimes just asking on your Facebook, because people often know people who are in business, or they might have a side hustle you don't know about. And so actually sometimes even just go into your own friendship network could be good, not for the business advice necessarily, but to find the right person, because they often have contacts, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I had help back in the day from the Prince's Trust. They helped me. I had a setup loan from them, but it was the mentorship that was really fantastic. That really helps. And also WIRE, which is Women in Rural Enterprise. I did a free business course with them and met a really good group of people. And so I think see what's out there, because there's always help. And also funding and grants, depending on what your business is as well. You can really look to the government for grants as well, to see what there is.
Thank you so much for listening to the Small Business Happy Dance. Please like and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference to us small creators. And go and check out Jo Bloodworth's Little Shop of Joy. All of the details will be left below. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.